So, mothers and others, I'm so excited to introduce to you your next candidate this evening. Laura Jones is a candidate for Texas 8th Congressional District. She is running against Republican incumbent Morgan Luttrell. Welcome, Laura. I'm so glad you're here. I had the pleasure to meet you over the summer in Bryan College Station, and I'm so glad that we get to see each other again. Welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for office?
Yes, first I'd like to start off by saying thank you so much for this opportunity. And as a mother and a fellow Texan, I appreciate immensely all the work that this group is doing for us. I am a native Texan. I'm a mother of 6 children, an Army mom. I am a small business owner, and I am a farmer. I am running for multiple reasons. This is my third election cycle running for the same seat. So I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, where I've lived most of my life and raised most of my children. And my husband and I moved to a small rural community of 30,000 people about 7 years ago. So this opened my eyes. I was presented with the opportunity to serve as a county chair. Hadn't really been involved very politically before that, was never a political activist. And this blew the lid off of everything. I had no idea what I didn't know up until that point. So number one reason that I'm running is to flip this seat from red to blue. The seat has never had a woman elected, and there hasn't been a Democrat in the seat since the 1980s. So as a candidate that lives in a rural area, I am on the outside of the infrastructure of the major blue cities. And as I've mentioned before, being a county chair, this was really apparent when you're trying to organize with no office, no money, very few Democrats in the area where you live. So creating infrastructure is huge to me. So I'm running to win, but I'm running to create the infrastructure that supports not only getting me elected, but any other candidate that overlaps with my district. Because as you know, in the big cities, lots of Democrats, everybody for the most part is voting blue. You get further away from the big cities, everything's red. And the voter percentages go down and down and down and down. So I see the value in reaching out to people outside of our Democratic club meetings and our Democratic Party meetings and creating long-term relationships with community leaders and community members, showing up to worship services on Sunday on a regular basis, volunteering at food pantries, investing my time and energy as someone who cares into different communities so they begin to believe in the system again. So they begin to believe that voting actually does make a difference. So that's one reason I'm running. I'm also running so that women can see that this can be done. There are too many women who go, oh, well, that's not for me. My life's too busy. And not to say that those aren't valid reasons not to run for office, but there are less than 30% of women that hold positions in the Texas state legislature, and as well as the federal level in the US Congress. Less than 30% in 2024. How do we change this? We normalize women running for office at all levels. We talk to young girls, we talk to teenagers, we talk to college students, because women must get involved. If we want to see real change in Texas, and real change across the United States, women must get elected. And it's not going to just happen overnight. We have to work on this. So I'm also running because I'm trying to create a blueprint for candidates who do not have wealthy families, who do not have the infrastructure to support them as far as friends and family members. I'm an underdog candidate, and I come across lots of underdog candidates running out in the wild areas of Texas. There's 254 counties, and 5 are blue? So that leaves all of Texas where there's no infrastructure, there's no support, there's no money, there's nothing for candidates like myself that are brave enough to stand up and run. So I'm running to create that blueprint along with other candidates to prove that it can be done because we're running for the right reasons. I'm running because government officials are not doing their jobs. They're passing laws to hurt us as regular people. I'm running because our government is out of balance. Normal people can't afford to run for office. You have to have family money. You have to have friends, influential friends and family members in order to afford to spend the time traveling around, spending money on signs. So I'm running to change this and encourage normal people to run for office. Because if we don't run, we can't get elected. And I'm running to be a catalyst for change. So what I'm doing is not about me. I am running to get elected, but if no one ever does it, then no one sees that it can be done. So those are some of the reasons that I'm running to get elected.
Well, those are all really great reasons. So thank you so much, Laura. So tell us, what are the top three things that you're campaigning on right now that are the most important for your district?
Healthcare is a really big issue across the United States and in my district. So my district is half rural and half suburban. So if you live in Harris County, there are excellent hospitals everywhere. But if you are uninsured or underinsured, it's not accessible or affordable to you. You could live down the street from an excellent hospital, but can't afford it. And in the rural areas, my county of 30,000 has no hospital, no emergency room, and no urgent care clinic. You're not even able to give birth to a baby in this part of rural East Texas because there's no hospitals that could support that. So veterans have to drive quite a ways to go to VA clinics as well. We need to begin to pressure Texas, from the federal level, pressure Texas to expand Medicare. So Medicaid, so that we as Texans have access to basic health care, because it's criminal what's going on here in Texas.
I agree. So that was one issue, was healthcare. So what is the next two issues?
Well, the next two issues, women's rights, which is also women's healthcare, women's reproductive rights, women's bodily autonomy. As a woman, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, as a wife, this is not okay with me for my rights and the rights of the people I love to have been taken away. So this is something that many, many women across the aisle, all over the place are really not okay with. So this is something that as women, we need to continue this fight. The leadership here in Texas that's elected right now, they'd have us believe that this is a hopeless situation, that there's nothing that can be done. I don't believe that. And I will continue to speak up and fight for women's rights, because it's not just abortion being used as healthcare. I mean, it's not just abortion being used as birth control. It's not just that. There are talking points that try to push that narrative. That's not what it is. Women's lives are at risk because babies are dying inside of their bodies. So we cannot allow this to happen. We cannot allow the state legislature to continue to oppress us this way.
Absolutely. So you still have one more item to add to that. What is your
living
last item?
wage? Having a living wage here in Texas is extremely important. I mean, the way that you oppress people is you take away their access to education and higher education, and you take away their ability to make money to move upward. The middle class is shrinking because of a lot of policies that are being passed, and elected officials that seem to be working for corporations or billionaires that own corporations. And our situation here in Texas and across the United States is becoming more and more dire. Housing is not affordable to the average person. Most college students are moving back in with their parents because they can't afford to live on their own. And it's not like buying a house is expensive, but renting a house is not. Rent is more expensive than a mortgage a lot of times now. So this, again, is an assault on the American people. It's an assault on Texans. And this is something else that needs to happen. We need to hold corporations and billionaires accountable for how they take care of the people that run their everyday business.
Absolutely. Well, amen to that. So, Laura, can you tell us about where we can find you and how best we can support you while you're campaigning?
Okay, well, I have a website, Laura, Laura, the number 4, tx.com. And then I'm on Facebook and X and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as well. So for me, as a candidate that doesn't have millions of dollars, I'm just going to continue running. but any donation would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And then help with name recognition. I would like to continue to connect with community leaders in all of the different communities across the district. And even community leaders and communities outside of District 8, because, building that infrastructure, a lot of times district lines don't even matter.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Laura. I look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail, and I hope I get the chance to see you really soon. Thank you.
Thank you.